Good afternoon, shooters. I'm Konstantinos Papachristou, and I welcome you to Just an IPSC Shooter live streamings. A couple of weeks ago, Just an IPSC Shooter was in IWA 2022, one of the biggest exhibitions concerning our sport. In front of CZ booth was a noble character, a great shooter who was smiling to everyone, who was taking pictures with everyone, and who was answering all the questions from his fellow shooters. A great personality, and of course, one of the biggest ambassadors of IPSC.
My name is Eric Grauffel, multiple-time IPSC world champion in pistol shooting, and I'm happy to announce that we are launching the EGCZ Academy online courses platform, on which you will be able to follow instruction shooting courses step by step from your home, via TV, iPad, or any other device. Start moving, and then pull, grab the magazine, watching my position, coming in, pushing forward, I start the loading, break that shot. So come and join us for the first season to game up your shooting skills.
Bonsoir Eric, bienvenue.
Bonsoir.
Ça va?
Hello. Ouais, ça va bien.
These are my friends that I know. Welcome to Just an IPSC Shooter live streaming, and it's a great honor for us. I know that your time is very precious.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show, and we'll try to get this interesting for all the followers.
Thank you very much about that. How's the weather in France?
Pretty good right now. I mean, it's we can feel that spring is coming. We had like 18 degrees in the afternoon in my region. We're expecting a very sunny week, so pretty cool, I must say.
Here in Germany, it's a typical German weather, moody and rainy. Shall we begin?
Yeah, of course. Sure.
Shooter ready. So, the first question, for my concern, I know that a lot of our viewers would like to know a few things about Eric as the person, and not only as Eric, the IPSC world champion. So, can you tell us a few things about yourself?
Not much to say. It's I'm a normal guy. I run a store back in France, a gun store. We sell guns. We build up guns for shooters, for competition shooters. My life is in between the of course the work and the shooting part. And beside that, I have the family, of course, time where we do a lot of competition as well, because my wife and my daughter are into horse competition. When my son is starting to shoot, but also doing some other sport like windsurfing and biking, and is everything, you know, all in also in the same principle. So we have kind of a competition family, and everything ends up in competition at the end of the day.
So shooting, it becomes a family tradition. As I know, correct me if I'm wrong, your father was also a coach of France national shooting team.
Yep, correct. He's been a coach for years, actually. 2003 or 4, something like this, up to 2012, 13, and then he retired for medical reasons, and now moved on. We had some different trainers or person in the selection of the national team, and I've been moved into that role about a year ago to give some tips to the national team, but also be able to select who's going and who's not going based on results.
So DNA and the genes are explaining everything concerning your shooting skills, most everything.
You know, it's hard to say, but in every sport that you can see, there is some similarities into the whatever the genes are, or what has been doing your family for years, and then you get into the same thing. So you can see that somehow if you're in a competition family, you end up pretty easily in competition.
I understand that because in my family we do the same thing. My father, my brother, and number 5 in the family who is doing the same job. Nevertheless, so what was it that made you take up the sport of practical shooting, and how did you learn about the existence of the sport? From your father or from somewhere else?
Well, you know, I started young. I started when I was a kid, just going to the shooting range with my dad, and bit by bit, you start doing the competition. You end up at a certain level, which brings you some sponsorship and so on, and then you keep on going. Now, learning has been let's say a hard way. For me, it has been about going into the US for years, being beaten hard, learning the way the top guys at the time were doing it, and that was clearly the US. Now we got today, as I can see, the US is still a clear nation which is on top of his game, but we also have some independence from here and there, as well, Europe, South America, Asia, where we have like some of the top guys are, you know, coming out from those regions. So the good thing is we're getting more competition and different flavor in competition, depending which country you're going to compete with.
It's totally understandable. We know that the United States of America are the leading nation in our sport, and of course is the biggest consumer in our sport. So,
correct. Besides the biggest consumer, they also have the biggest membership, clearly in our sport, in our sport federation, and thereof, if you want, the pool of potential is much higher than any other country that we can have in Europe. We as countries in Europe, we are small countries. Of course, if we're talking about all Europe and then you combine all the potential of Europe, then maybe we have a chance to face the US as a team, as if we bring a European team in that scenario. But if we just bring one European country as a team in front of the US, basically there's no chance.
Yeah, I know that even as European Union we can do. I think right now we cannot compete the United States, mostly because of the laws that we have in Europe that are very restricted. In Greece are very restrictive, and I think in France also. And I think that the best benefit that they have, the US competitors, are their own laws that are very helpful and they are very free in order to train themselves and also to become more competitive.
Correct. It's for sure that each different country has different access to the firearms and ammunition, and it's clear. And knowing a little bit about Greece, not being able to reload your own ammunition, it's already one strategic point regarding the training that hurts, because you have to do with what you can find, and obviously also the access to the ammunition is way more expensive this way than it is if you can reload.
First of all, we are going to have a big lack of ammo the next month, because the majority of the ammo will go to United States in order to cover their gap, because for different reasons. So we'll discuss about it later on. Can you give us a small CV about your IPSC background and your accomplishments so far? I know it's a big one, but we would like to hear it.
If we make it short, I've been a French national champion in 95. Yeah, 95. And since then, I haven't lost a title. World champion, I've got 8 titles, 7 overall, and plus 1 in the junior category. European also, same story. I got 8 titles. And then I got those titles. Most of them are in open, because I got 5 in open, I got 1 in production and 1 in standard division. I mean, European and world level.
Okay, it's quite a CV. What are your secrets behind your absolute performance? For me, because I've seen a lot of your videos, and I think you're playing like a robot, full computerized, with no mistakes. So,
That's
do you have any secrets about it?
Well, there's no real secret. It's basically what you just said. It's what the people think about me or think about what they see, and of course it's fully understandable. However, it's hours and hours and hours of work. I mean, I got the chance to be sponsored. Of course, this clearly has a huge impact in the career. And thanks to all the sponsors, and you know, CZ is one of them, Amscore is one of them for the ammunition, CCI as well. So all of these helps me definitely to be where I am today. However, beside that, it's not only the fact that you are being sponsored and you have free products to shoot, but it's hours on the range, hours also at the gym. It's hours of preparation of the equipment if you need to do some tuning, some modification, which means about modifying the pistol if there is some adjustment, if you break something or not, cleaning, of course, loading your own ammunition and making the tests. So there is a lot of research and a lot of time to be sure that at the end you can perform properly. And it's not just an hour training every day. It's a full-time job which comes down to 5, 6, 7 hours per day.
So what we see is the top of the iceberg, and we don't see the sacrifices and the struggle of an athlete. Nevertheless, can you give us a percentage between your dry fire and your live ammo?
It's not a good question. I don't like that question because I'm not saying dry fire is no good, but I'm not in favor of dry fire. Mm-hmm. Dry fire is one thing and creates motion and creates muscle memory and so on. But it doesn't teach you how to shoot. It doesn't teach you to break the shot properly because there's no bang. It doesn't teach you the patience that at the end you may need when it comes to final aiming and final press on the trigger before the bullets start flying. And when usually we dry fire somehow to create a fast track, a fast pace, which is not what's going to happen in competition. Thereof, I believe dry fire is a dangerous game in the sense that it makes you believe that you are at a certain level, and when it comes in competition, when you need to produce and perform this, you're not able to deliver on demand at that moment, and for that, I believe that doing dry fire only is an extreme dangerous thing of training in terms of deception when it comes down to the result in competition.
Okay.
So if we're talking about how much time do I do this versus live fire, I'd say I live fire pretty much 90% of the time and dry fire 10% of the time maximum. And I believe 10% it's probably already 2 or 3 times more than what it is in reality.
So it's a huge difference, nevertheless. Yeah. So what preparations do you make before an important competition? Mentally, concerning your training. Do you have a specific training? Do you focus in great competitions? What are your preparations?
No, not really. I actually rise up the quantity of ammunition from a routine which is like 300, 400, 500 rounds. I rise up to easily 1,500 rounds in that scenario, in that time. Putting myself into some sort of shooting addict. Like if I don't shoot, I start stressing. I start, being in the need of shooting, and so I shoot quite a lot the couple of weeks before the competition, before the event. And usually I stop about a day or 2 before, so that it creates me that puts me in some, how you call that, in some missing of the shooting, some need to shoot. And then when it comes to the very first stage, I'm like, give me the bullets, let me shoot, give me that moment I need to start getting in, and that's it, pretty much. That's how usually I do it.
So as I understand, you create yourself a hunger for shooting, and when the time comes, you release yourself.
Yeah, pretty much like you know, when you are a hard smoker, you need to smoke. When you're some drug addicted, you need the drug. Well, me, I need bullets. So pretty much is I need the trigger, I need bullets, and I create that need just before the big events.
All right. So, as a world champion, do you feel the burden of the champion getting heavier every year that you compete?
Can you repeat, because I didn't hear properly?
As a champion, do you feel the burden, the weight getting heavier year by year during the competition? Because, you know, when Eric Grauffel is coming to a competition, is the main event, all the eyes are on you in order to see something different that they can use in their own shooting, and you are a role model for a lot of shooters. So do you feel this burden during the competition, or just another day?
It's
shooting.
Yeah, you can call it a burden. Is it a burden? I don't know, but it's clear. I would say it's clear that I become a better price than what can be on the table at that competition, because what I've built over the years creates an history or a story around me and my name. And therefore, I'm a better target, and I'm a better price. So it's clear that the day I will lose, and this day will happen. That's sooner or later it will happen. I don't know how soon. I hope not too soon, of course. But that's why I'm training. But it will happen, and that will actually, you know, also be a very interesting moment. The day I will have to give that, and but you know, that's also one thing. Winning one time, it's one thing, but to be able to reproduce it, you know, a second time or third time becomes another story. And of course, there is a chance that I can lose very soon, or maybe later. Who knows? But what I can be sure is that if I get second at some point, I will probably double the efforts to take back that position. So that means I'm gonna fight. And do I have the burden, or is the burden on the guy who's gonna beat me? It's actually a good question that we can reposition the day I get second, third, or fourth, or whatever position, which is not first. And I would be curious actually to ask the winner at that moment, hey, how do you feel for the next competition?
We will come up with another live streaming talking about that. But the certain thing is that right now you are the most valuable prize for every competitor in IPSC's world. That's what I believe right now.
Well, it's and it's clear you're not, I believe, the only one to think this way. I had when it was the World Shoot in 2017, when the top guys came over and they were here not for the title, and they told me this: we're coming for you, not for the title. Honestly, it affected me a little bit at the beginning, like. That's a strange feeling. I know usually I know how to handle pressure, and this honestly put me a little bit of pressure, which made me realize that I'm a better prize than the title itself. Mm-hmm. And so it took me a little while to recenter my focus, recenter my concentration, let's say. But then also it gives me motivation, and understanding that in 2017 that I am becoming a better prize. Makes me think that if you want that prize, you will have to fight for it. And so that gives me actually extra motivation that I didn't have maybe at that moment, at that point. I was motivated by winning, clearly, but now I'm motivated by the fact that I will lose, but if I lose, I will lose in a hard way. I will not lose with an easy way.
So you are motivated by them, and they are motivated by you in order to compete you. That's
Correct.
okay.
Yep.
So, moving on, what are the necessary preconditions for an athlete who wants to be competitive? For an IPSC shooter who wants to be competitive, what do you believe are the preconditions?
Oh, that's a hard question. There are plenty aspects. You have the first. You have the psychological aspect, which is be able to take in whatever information is coming, which could be from the training, from your coach, from the competition, and accept how do you say, the information to get better, to make you better. That's one thing. You need the motivation. It's a clear rule. If you don't have that, if you're not motivated, then pretty much there's not big chances that you reach the top. Beside the motivation, you need to make sure that you are also concentrated. You have the focus, because the focus is you need to see the result, see the target you're aiming, and be able to reach it. So the focus is part of that. And I would say after that, a little bit of luck, a little bit of yeah, I would say luck.
So
get there.
To summarize, mentality, focus, luck, and of course dedication.
Dedication, motivation. Yeah, correct. You need to work. At some point, if you reach the top, when I reached the top, I was still a student, which means I was training a certain amount of time per day, and I was not a lot. And now, compared to what I do today, I train maybe 3 times more than I used to do. So all comes down that if you want to stay at your position and you want to reach the high-end competition, the high-end results all the time, and this you can see it in every sport. You look at Formula One, you look at skiing, which are just recent thing. You look football, it's the same. The guys are training simply every single day.
So, a relative question: how can an athlete improve his practice?
How can I improve?
How can an athlete, an IPSC shooter, generally, can improve his practice?
Hey, it depends. Depends your technique, because you cannot improve just by saying I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that or I'm gonna shoot more or I'm gonna shoot faster and so on. It's a combination. You need someone to have, or yourself, the clarity to understand where you need to train and on what specific part you need to train. Let's be clear, practical shooting is so much about shooting, which is about practical, and you need to be good at everything. It's impossible to be the top at everything. So saying this, you need to train every different aspect between of course the technique, the situations, the shooting, which is just one fundamental part, placing your bullet wherever you want it to be placed or hit in the target. And then we have the time sensitive. If you shoot too fast and you're not accurate, are you simply shooting too fast and reducing your speed bring you accuracy? Or are you shooting too fast and you're simply just not accurate, and even reducing your speed, you're still not accurate? So it's you need the vision, you need the understanding of what you need to practice in order to improve your performance in competition, because competition is the only way to gauge or scale yourself.
To measure yourself.
Measure yourself. In training, you can, today we live in the modern world of social media. So we all do that. Make a nice video for the social media. It looks cool. How many times it has been repeated? How many times we shot it? Is it the reality? Can you deliver, because that's what we call in competition, deliver that in competition on demand the day you need to do it, or is it something that you need 100 times repetition to be able to prove it? So not the same. Practical, it's about a one time on demand.
So what we say in my profession, it's the safe environment. When you practice yourself in a safe environment, mistakes doesn't count, and so on. So you have to compete yourself in competitions in order to measure yourself. What is the importance of a coach in the evolution of an athlete, coaching, especially in our sport, in IPSC?
I'm not sure one coach is enough actually at the end, because you need also a gunsmith, unless you are a gunsmith, and you need basically someone, which could be the coach, could be your gunsmith, you could have two of them, because you need the trust. You need the trust of someone that you can speak with, and also that someone can tell you, okay, here you're doing a mistake. Why? Because in competition we are so much focused, orientated to the result, even stubborn in the fact that I need to win, I have to win. So you see only potentially the risks, or the objectives to perform, to achieve that result, and sometimes you just forget that you can be reasonable, and being reasonable, you need someone to tell you, hey, here you maybe don't need to shoot that fast, or you don't need to take that risk to shoot this sequence, because it's not really needed, for the simple reason that maybe your competition has already done it and they made mistakes. So a safer way could be just as good as taking the risk, but without taking it.
Okay. So you work together with one of the leading companies in our sport, CZ. Can you tell us a few things about this collaboration?
Well, CZ is with me now since the early 2018, and we're working on different fields. We started so me as a part of the shooting team, that's one part. So I still compete and I still represent the company and everything. So that's one part of of my activity with CZ. Then the second activity is the academy, which we are now building, which the building is in progress, and the opening is scheduled for September this year, in which we will have the shooting range fully indoor, of course, for the training, for people to shoot inside the academy, but we will run also trainings in it, so courses. We'll be able to do also promotions, a lot of promotion video for the companies and all the sponsors that are supporting me and the academy. And of course, we'll do competition inside. So very, very quick, we're gonna get some competition started in that shooting range, in order to bring in people, to show people what we're doing here in my city in Quimper, which is really far west of Europe. However, close to Normandy, not exactly Normandy, but close to. And it's also a very nice touristic area. I mean, in terms of visiting, yes, it's not Paris, but we're not very far at the end of the day now with flying. And we'll have everything here to make your stay comfortable if you decide to come and visit us, either for competition, for training, or just for having fun and using the range and shoot some rounds with the different guns we'll have in the academy. So that's one part. And also working with the factory at CZ, developing and working on new guns for the future. So it's a long process, it takes time, but we're working on new stuff. So which is really cool. I must say it's there's a lot of things going on. They are pushing, they are hard on the work. So I need to be quick, responsive, proactive. So it's not that simple. Yeah. So I must say my days are pretty full right now.
I understand. So it's a multi-collaboration with CZ with a lot of layers. I'll try to be in September in ericgrauffel CZ Academy in order to cover it for our Greek viewers and Greek IPSC, and of course also to take some lessons and have some shooting.
Sure. Well, you know what? We'll make the live when you're here. That sounds good to me.
Yeah. So, how can an athlete choose the right outfit and gun for our sport? Do you have a guideline for that?
I didn't hear the first part. Can you say it again?
About how a shooter can choose his outfit and his gun in our sport. Do you have a specific guideline in order to...
Well, the thing is, first, when you get started, you need to understand if you like IPSC or not. So there is no need to spend a huge amount of money in your pistol, starting maybe with an open gun or a standard gun, which are extremely expensive, even though production optic, which are more expensive. But usually I recommend the people to start in production. The production division is the most affordable division to get started in IPSC. And most likely it's the one that costs the less also in ammunition. You have to see that. When you get started, you need to practice, you need to shoot, and of course you need to be introduced to the competition, to the sport, and introduced also to the rules. What are the different rules in IPSC, and what are also the divisions in IPSC? Most likely, most of the pistol can fall easily in production, and or I would say a classic thing or something like that. But yeah, I would say production. And usually after a year of time, people have a better viewing, a better understanding of what the sport is, and they have, I would say, they would be able to judge or decide whether they like to go and stay in production or move to another division which fits them better. What we see is that, of course, I usually compare it this way, but I like to say that open division is really the Formula One of our sport. For me, it's clear. It's the one that it's on top with the firearms are the most expensive in this division. That's the one that pushes your limit in terms of speed and accuracy combined in competition. While I would say the production is more the high end. We can compare it to the high-end series car that you can buy on the market from the shop, and the standard division is kind of a rally. So that's the in-between between the custom sport car and the factory car that you can find, but still you can see that the open is the fastest one. Usually the standard are just slightly slower but slightly faster than production, and then you have production. Also, because the division requires this way, production shooting with minor points in paper targets, well, you need to score, and for scoring you need to slow down and make sure that you get your points. So that's a very simple maybe view, but I feel that that positioning is very simple, especially when we have to explain it to the new shooters, so they understand where they're going. You know, when you explain that you are going to Formula One, you understand that it's going to cost you a lot. When you go for a series car, you understand it costs you, but not as much as a Formula One, basically.
For saying that the open division is Formula One, I can hear the competitors that they're competing in open division bragging themselves in Greece. So, because they think that they are something special. As you say, they are special, but they brag a lot about it.
Well, but everybody wants to touch at some point this level of competition, but also I had not so long ago, I heard the story. I met the person itself, but that was a funny story, because the shooter came and said, open division, it's an easy division. You have a dot, you have a lot of bullets, you just press as quick as possible and everything goes fine. And I said, sure, of course, 100% with you, I agree 100%, but you know what, give a try. Take the gun and shoot open and show us what you can do and show us how easy it is. And then, when people start really putting and trying to do the open, and they realize, that's not that simple, because driving the gun at that speed, because the guy in open, they are dedicated. You can put any top guys on the European market. You take Jorge Ballesteros, you take Emilio Brio from France, you take Robin Shebo from Czech Republic, also CZ team, by the way. Take those three guys and to take somebody else that comes from another division with an open gun. It's not happening anytime soon. That newbie, let's say in open, will win. It's not, open is not that simple. It's extremely demanding, and each mistake in open costs you a lot.
So bottom line, open division is Formula One. So you have traveled a lot. You have competed all around the world. Which match, which competition made a special impression on you about?
There are plenty. There are plenty because we have a couple of matches around Europe which are clearly good. We got a big one in France, the French national now, which is iron sight, optical sight, and now since the last 2-3 times we can shoot 48 stage in 4 days. So it's 2 separate matches. 24 each, but if you shoot the 4 days in a row, that gives you 48 stages, which is quite a lot. Actually too much without a break, I believe. Then we have also the German one, the Infinity, which is a great match, very well known for his technicity and complexity of stages. And of course we have the Extreme in Czech Republic, which is a big one with the 30 stages and a lot of shooters coming. So it makes the event, those 3 main matches in Europe are definitely great. However, if you start thinking about different matches, and as you said, I've been traveling quite a lot. I haven't done every countries, but South Africa, fantastic. Thailand, Philippines, amazing. Canada, interesting also because you shoot 10 rounds. So when you are not used to it, and I know also the Australian are shooting 10 rounds. But I've never been to Australia. You guys, sorry, but you're a little bit too far for me. But those 10 rounds, when you shoot an open gun 10 rounds, it's kind of funny. Or standard 10 rounds, it's very funny too. USPSA, I mean, going in the US, if you've never done it, it's a go. It's a must go one time in your life because the rules are different, the stage design are different, the competition is different. So US is the learning country for anyone who wants to compete and somehow reach the top. If you never go to the US, you're not doing it properly. You need to go there. And then South America, fantastic. Jamaica, I shot Jamaica. Amazing. You shoot stages with music. It's amazing. It's like a different flavor. And as I say, South America, I've been doing Ecuador, Argentina, Brazil. Those countries, amazing, great countries to practice. Also, the flavor the stages are made is different. So all these countries are clearly amazing. Now I can add one because I'm not forgetting Greece. Greece has also a flavor for me because it was my first major title, which was European champion in '98. So all of that. There's plenty places around the world that you can go and really enjoy the different things.
First of all, I'm very jealous for all your travels and your tastes of shooting in different countries. And hopefully in the near future you will add a Greek competition in your calendar. I think you won the European title in 1998. Do you remember the place?
Yeah, in Hania, in Crete.
Yeah, you were in my shooting range of Asok, which is the club of Hania. You're more than welcome in Asok again in Hania, wherever you like during summer. So
on top of the small mountain or small hill, I don't know, which you can actually see the sea, and it's about I do remember like 15-20 minutes max from the hotel and from the beach shore. Mm-hmm. And I do remember like if it was yesterday. Fantastic place, I must say.
Tell you about that. So, except USA, because we've mentioned a lot of things about USA, we know it. Which country do you think is the most advanced in our sport after the United States?
Hard to say.
Next question.
Honestly, hard to say. I'm trying to think. Hard to say because none of the countries have the pool enough to create what US has in terms of competition. So I would say Europe in general, if you consider the matches of Europe to be a good pool to compete, because the Asians are somehow close by, but it's not simple to travel within Asia very quick. Then we have South America, which is also a pretty wide region, but not also so simple to travel that much. I mean, there's a lot of how do you say, permit for the firearms as soon as you travel. While Europe, we have the European firearm pass, as you know, which gives much more simplicity for the competition and the competitors to travel within Europe, so from country to country, without doing all the paperwork, which is clearly an issue as soon as you start traveling. So I would stick to Europe in general.
So, from your experience, what do you think are the preconditions or the necessities to boost a country's IPSC? The laws, the competitions, what?
It's a little bit of everything, because you need the federation that is pushing for the sport. That's one thing. So that means you need the political part that is ready to develop the IPSC in the country. And of course, then beside that part, you need all the administration help and support to make sure that the sport can live and can be done in a proper way for the shooters. After that, you need, of course, the shooters. You need the members, and the more members you have, it is the best for the sport. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do here in France, we're trying to push bit by bit and slowly now juniors, because we believe that the juniors is the next generation that will replace us at some point. And if we don't do it, then I believe we haven't done what our fathers did in the past, promoting the sport to the young and to the youth. So we should, in general, push more in that direction to promote the shooting and shooting sport and IPSC to the young people, even though it's an expensive sport. No matter what, in terms of politic and advertisement for the sport, the younger is the sport, the better it is.
I totally understand, and I believe that juniors are the most important investment for the future of our sport, and it's common sense. So, for your experience and as a IPSC World Champion, is there anything you would like to change in IPSC?
There's many things that you could change, and also so many things that you don't want to change, because we understand that it's a little bit like in I'll go back to Formula One, which is a funny thing is we have the habit to change a lot of the rule specs, which creates sometimes some friction but also creates the dynamic of readapting. And especially for the manufacturers, they are forced to readapt their firearms in order to be competitive. So it's on one side, I like it. On the other side, I don't like it, because I feel that sometimes the decisions about what being changed are not necessarily made in how say collaboration or in discussion also with the athletes, and sometimes it can create some frictions and some difficulties. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. Now we finally turn into the electronic systems of scoring, which is Finally, it's something that it was about time to do, and that I really enjoy it for the IPSC. It's much better for our sport, especially if we need to become more public or more mediatic. It's easier to have an electronic scoring in which you can see immediately the scores, the ranking of the shooters that evaluates, I mean, second by second. Every time you finish shooting, that you know immediately where you stand, where you are, and it's in terms of communication and media, makes it way more interesting.
I understand that. And also, we can have a lot of assets from the newest technology. You're using applications, barcodes, new IDs, and a lot of other stuff that can help the shooter to have an easier life.
Correct. And honestly, I've seen recently an app which is, I'm curious to see in a close future, but basically I've seen something that you just hold your phone or your tablet and with the camera on, and the camera actually detects the scoring straight out of the shots on the paper. So you just go by, and apparently that the app is able to read properly the lines and determines the exact scoring. So you just don't have to go and score it just by pointing and viewing the thing. The app tells you, okay, this is this.
It scans the target. And it scans the target and it comes up with the results.
Exactly, and they only if it's too close from the scoring line, it tells you like no, please check it, and then you just go and score it yourself manually. But just passing by, and I would say, wow, that's pretty cool, because you don't have to do and wait a lot. You just go toot, done, and it's all scored.
So technology in our help. So you have competed with great shooters. Who made a special impression on you and why? It's not a tricky question, or...
Listen, it's a question. I met a lot of the top guys, and every one of them have a specialty. So I cannot mention just one. It's impossible. But all of them, from just my own generation. And you take, of course, JJ as a friend, but you take Max, you take Chris, you take Casey, and those are just from the US. And I'm forgetting definitely some others. But you take the European side, you got Emile from France, from my own country. You take Jorge, who is also Team Armscore, and a great shooter. We go in other places from South America too. So there's a bunch of them, clearly. And of course, when I was young, without mentioning I would say the grandfathers of our sport, but I'm getting there, obviously. But you take Jerry Miculek, you take Rob Latham, you take Jerry Barnard. So all of these guys, they've been there, and they are still here today to represent our sport, to show what the sport is, and I'm just flying through as a person, and we are all flying through. So the new guys are coming, the old guys are just getting out, or we're just cruising through, and we're just a generation of guys within our sport. We're just leaving a name for the time being, and that's it. So there's a lot of guys between the young one, the older one, my generation. So everyone I get to meet and I get to compete with are just it's just a great experience.
Okay, that's a way of life. We're trying to leave a mark. You have left a mark already in our sport, and hopefully a lot of other guys. So have you ever competed with Greek athletes?
If I did compete with Greek athletes?
Yeah, with Greek shooters.
Yeah, I did. I actually did in Serbia last European Championship with the Greek production team, and it was an actually very good fun. Mm-hmm. It was a good flavor, I must say. But yes, I've been doing a little bit with the also national team in the past, working with them. Now you have also a former Greek back to Greece, Paul Argentoniou, which is back in Greece now, but as he has been from South Africa to Australia and Estonia, and now he's back home, I would say. So yeah, I know a bunch of guys and have great time with the Greeks.
So, can you tell us a few things about your daily routine? Because I know that you are very, very busy and your time is very precious. So, what's your daily routine?
If I start saying my daily routine and my wife says it, she will say, no, you need to change your life. It's I'm sorry for the word, but it's fucked up, which is, if you start thinking it this way, it's not too bad. Most likely I wake up between 5 to 5:30 most of my days, pretty much easily. And usually what I do is I go in my kitchen, and during my breakfast I start working, do my mails, do my answering, because it's a very good time, nobody's calling. Most of the Europeans are still sleeping, and like this I can catch up pretty quick. Then very early I'm in the office, sorry, after dropping my kids to school, and do some work. Then I got my workout usually end of the morning around 11 till, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Lunch, if I get the time and I can shoot in some of the local range here, I shoot. As soon as I got the academy ready, then I will be shooting in the afternoon, usually for an hour and a half. And then back to work. And if I'm lucky, I'll be home between 6 to 7 p.m. After work, and then just enjoy your family time, dinner, and that's it. Early sleep, I would say.
I'm already tired. So, can you tell us a few things about IPSC in France, concerning structure, laws? If it's a part of a general shooting federation or it's independent?
Yes, IPSC France is actually IPSC underneath the French Shooting Federation, which today is about 300,000 members for the whole federation. The IPSC part is estimated around 5,000 to 6,000 members. All of that. The competitions are controlled and directed by the French Federation, and we have within the federation an let's say a IPSC division, which actually administrate IPSC in France. We use the nationals. We use the same shooting range now for the last 5-6 years, the same shooting range than the World Shoot in 2017. So the main central shooting range. This is where we get all our nationals now down, not only for IPSC, but for also most of the shooting discipline. Regarding the firearm access, it's not too bad. You need to be part of a club, of course, which is affiliated to the federation. And then after some month of work and experience, then you can request a firearm license. Now with the new law, it's easier. You get, as a person, granted to own firearms, and when you're granted, then you can buy pistols, rifles, shotguns, whatsoever. With the new rules now, we have a 6 firearms center fire at first for the first 5 years, and when you break the first 5 years, then you can reach double, so you can get 12 firearms that you can buy center fire. Then all the rim fires or hunting rifles, if they are like they can be semi-auto with just 3 rounds or just manual up to 10 rounds, then you can have pretty much as many as you want.
Not similar with Greece, but with a lot of similarities. Do you think
it's not too bad, I must say. I mean, it could be worse, it could be better, of course, but at least it's right now it's they try, I won't say loosen up the restrictions, but it's honestly getting better than it was 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. So, do you think that the IPSC is expanding worldwide?
It's here in France, clearly expanding. There is no discussion about that. There are more and more demand to be part of IPSC and to shoot IPSC. Reason, hard to say. Is the sport in general, I mean the shooting sport is getting younger? I would say yes. Is the sport getting more into dynamic shooting? Probably yes too. You can see that the people that shoot just for leisure, standing still, bullseye shooting, beside those who are shooting rifle and long distance shooting, when it comes down to pistol, they actually start to think, I've done that for the last 2 years, I'd like to taste something else. And then you bring them to steel challenge or steel targets, falling down poppers and everything, and they start to think, wow, this is pretty cool. There is, some feeling that bing, bam, bam, the things move, the things falls, and so on. So, and as a step, they're like, I like this style of dynamic shooting. Is there something more? And then they start to see and start to realize there's IPSC. And then IPSC, then people that come and like, hey, I would like to participate. You taste it, and as much as I know, most of people who start touching IPSC, they love it. I've hardly heard someone say no. This is not good. I don't like it, and I haven't heard that so far. So there's always good point about IPSC because it's changing, it's dynamic. You never shoot the same thing. Even your trainings are very often different, so it brings a flavor clearly.
Mm-hmm. Do you think because of this expansion that there is enough space for professional shooters in our sport?
Oh yeah, 100%. And they are the more shooters we are, the more space there is for pro. 100%. Because the more we have, the more the company will be intended to support the sport. We know the sport has been expanding. Now look at CZ. CZ is becoming the global sponsor of IPSC. So CZ as a manufacturer is directly supporting IPSC to promote the sport, to develop the sport in order that IPSC keeps on going. So 100%, the bigger the sport will grow, the bigger will get the let's say the pro section, of course, but also the investments. The amateur market or the amateur shooting area will also grow, creating a new pool of potential guys that can move from amateur to pro, and therefore there is more and more there. Now, once again, compare it to Formula One. Formula One is limited to 22 drivers in competition, right? But look at the pool behind. How many people are waiting to get in there? So there is here you have the exact same thing, and the sport is rude. Let's be clear. If you become a sponsored shooter and you are under contract with some goals, you need to deliver. If after a year or two you're not delivering what was promised, in the sense of you need to bring national title or European results or European title or so on, hey, you know what happened? The company will say, okay, we take your seat off, you're out, and we'll take a new one. That's how it goes. The sport is rude. For that part, for the pro, the sport is still rude. Yeah. And it's not something that you it's not because you want it once that you have it for life. It doesn't work this way. You have it, and you can be expendable right away. So you're on the how do you say it? Jump seat every day, every time.
Nothing is permanent. From my perspective, I believe that expansion growth drives investments, and investments lead to growth. It's a cycle, and
it's a circle. 100%.
Yeah.
And the bigger will grow the sport, the more chance also will get external sponsors, because a lot of people, I don't know if it's the same for you in Greece or in the rest of Europe or in the world, it's why IPSC is not Olympic, or why IPSC is not more seen on the media. Hey, simply because today we're still too small. When we get bigger, so that means external companies may jump in, and external companies with, of course, money, because unfortunately the money helps to promote and develop the sport. Then we have more chance to be more visible. The more visible we get, the more people we can attract. It is as simple as it is. Football today is one of the sport which is the most that has the most access to the youth and the most access to members. Why? It's visible all the time. When you see it on TV, you see football. What first thing that you want to give to your son or to your daughter, not necessarily daughter, not a good example, but son goes to football. That's the first sport usually you do. So that's it. And my son, same thing. He did football for a couple of years. He said, no, it's not for me. And we moved. But because that sport is on TV. So, and today we are not on TV. So that's, so we need to grow the sport. So the sport needs to grow. The bigger it grows, the more investors and more companies investing in our sport there will be, then the sport will become visible. The more it becomes visible, the more it becomes also competitive.
Yeah.
So it has only, I would say, benefits to it.
I think that we have to use in a wise way mass media, internet, TikTok and other platforms in order to advertise our sport, which is easy. It's very easy. And we have to think clever how we're going to use them and how
Correct.
to beat up our image. Eventually we'll come to that. Yeah.
Correct. What we just said is very generic for all sports. Now we have to come down to what our sport is. We're using firearms, so it's not that simple also to promote a firearms sport over the general population. There's a lot of people, no matter what we say, they're not in favor of firearms. So it demands, as you said, a little bit more clarity, a little bit more sensibility of how we want to promote. But we need to promote. That's the only way for us to grow.
Europe is very reluctant in firearms, generally speaking, and I believe that we have to make a discrimination between tactical and IPSC shooting, which it's crystal clear just a sport, but using firearms. And concerning Greece, it's quite a small market, but it's very dynamic, and I think we will move forward.
Correct. Sport is sport, and this it has to stay this way.
Yeah. So, what are your goals and plans for the future?
Well, goal is to finish my the academy, so we get this one open. That's first thing. The second is I don't know if you've seen, but we started an online academy also. So we did the first season this year based on what we heard and the return of the members of the group who are following me on the online academy. I believe it's pretty clear by 99.9% we are running a season 2 because those who are here already, they want to know more. They are requesting for more on more advanced stuff. And which I'm happy. So that means the job has been done, and it's it makes them happy. So that's a second plan. We'll need to do more filming at the end of the year, and then prepare for the potential world shoot if it's the world shoot finally fully confirmed. It's confirmed as it is today, but still the restriction of flying and traveling doesn't make it that simple to see if, who's going and who's not going. But obviously, and hopefully in the next couple of months, we will have a better understanding if restriction will be lifted. And then, so of course, prepare for the world shoot. Which division? It's a lot of question. It's one of the question I get. Honestly, guys, I still don't know. I can tell you it will be either iron sights or optical sight. It doesn't help, yes, but it's most likely what it will be. And then we'll see from there.
Okay, so reaching the end of our conversation, the last question: when was the last time you lost a match?
Well, I lost. I can't remember the year, but I lost in Florida years back. I was second. I think I was second or third, and I do remember Max Michel was the winner actually. That was one for IPSC. Then of course I shot also some steel challenge and pro-am, in which steel challenge I don't remember. I was maybe top 5, something like this. For my first try. I think pro-am I got second place, and the winner was Bob Bogle.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost some matches. Of
But
course,
many years ago.
2013, 2014, but they are different matches. So for me, it's experience. So I just went to compete. I shot 3-gun, also the world 3-gun in Las Vegas, and I was top 5, top 6, something like this. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not first all the time, you see.
So, Mr. Grauffel, Eric, thank you, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much for this joyful conversation. Thank
pleasure.
you for being here, sharing your knowledge, your experience, and help this amateur effort to promote what we love. And what we love is IPSC.
Thank you very much, and well, talk to you soon, and I'll wait you for
In September. Yeah.
in September for the live at the spot here at the EGCZ Academy.
Okay, so we'll end this joyful, with this fruitful conversation with Greece. Join us.